Good morning, crafty friends. Happy Saturday. I'm Beth Roy, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm coming live from my craft room. So good morning. We are crafting for World Card Making Day today. Hopefully I can find me on my page. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties, so hopefully I'm live in the right place. And my notifications go out. There we go. So I went live a few minutes ago. Not sure where I went live. Could have been on my personal profile. I don't know. So good morning, Jenny. I do have a guest crafting with me today. So you may hear Vicky, Miss Vicky behind us crafting away. She's going to be stamping too. But today I want to go over stamping your own patterned paper. Good morning, Linda. So I'm not sure what happened earlier. I went live. I thought I was on my page. And I couldn't find my video. And it said I was live, but I was nowhere to be found on my page. So we had to restart. So sorry for the late start. But we're here now. So this morning, I'm going to talk about how I stamped these. And I am doing a Christmas theme. You could do fall or whatever theme you want. Oh no, Jenny. I hope you feel better soon. Here, just grab. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, we're sharing supplies here, so you, like I said, you may hear Vicky come over and get things out from under my stuff. So, I don't know what side. Was that good, Vicky?
That's
okay.
Good. Thank you.
So Vicky is going to stamp a one-sheet wonder along with us. And I did these a while back when Jenny and I had a little craft session together. And I love doing these. Jenny does them a lot. Sometimes I just forget. So this one, I want to talk about this because if you follow Ruth Trice, she's in the UK, I believe. It's Artful Stamping with Ruth. She loves to do what she calls one-sheet wonders, where you just stamp an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. She makes them all the time. They're awesome. And I've done it in the past too, but I guess I never really had a method. So since I started following Ruth, she talks about lots of different ways to stamp these. So we're going to talk about how you can stamp one sheet and then cut it up. And if you've watched me do these before, you know that I like to make templates. And I use vellum. And I just save these. And you can lay templates over top if you want slim lines. This is a slim line. And you could make other templates. Whatever type of cards you like to do. You can cut your paper into 4 sections and make card fronts that way. Or I have a template where I have, they're a little bit different sizes, but, and you probably can't read them, they're in teal. They're 3.5 by 4 1/4. And then this one's 4 by 4 1/4. So those are some sizes that I like to use. And then you can chop them up and make a set of cards. So we're going to do that today. And I want to do Christmas theme, and I have lots of ideas. So I have this stamp set. This was Christmas season. And I will tell you, this white ink one, you have to stamp all the white ink and let it dry. So I don't plan on using white ink today. I actually think I need to replace my pad. My ink's my pad is not working well. But what I did here is I stamped all the white ink first, let it dry, or you could hit it with your heat tool, and then I stamped the other colors on top. So you want to make sure the white is dry because it will, your next color will pick that up. So I just wanted to share this with you because I saw Ruth do, I think it was a fall one. Do you recall, Jenny? It was a one that had white and then she stamped on top with the crumb cake. And so I love that look. And then this one is stamped on Very Vanilla. And I often forget to use Very Vanilla. So I stamped this on Very Vanilla and I did kind of a wreath. So there's different patterns you can do. You can do 2 lines across your sections of paper like you would cut it for your card. Good morning, Pam. Thanks for joining us. You can also stamp like down the middle and down the middle here, and then you're cutting it so that you have 4 pieces, but you're getting the benefit of only stamping once. So there's lots of ways you can stamp. So the first decision we have to make this morning is what color cardstock do we want to stamp on? Now I've grabbed out 2 inks that I want to use, Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent, for my Christmas one sheet wonder. So we're going to have to pick some other colors, and I also want to talk about some other stamp sets you could use. Where is my... Are they right here? If you're like me and you lose your stamp sets all the time.
Are they right here?
No, I'm looking for Christmas Barn.
Oh, I didn't bring that one.
I'm probably looking right at it. Well, darn it. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have to decide what to stamp on. So we can do, I do have a piece of crumb cake, and I use the 8.5 by 11. If you have 12 by 12 paper, feel free to use that and cut it up however you like. I do have Very Vanilla, which I like that soft color sometimes for my Christmas cards. And then I have Basic White. Oops. So let's see. Hopefully everybody finds me this morning. Trying to see what other colors I want to try. Maybe we want to do something really different, like this. If I can get my piece of paper out. What if we did our base as one of these colors, like this? Good morning, Dad. Thanks for joining us. Oh yes, Pam. I might have seen that too. I love doing these. These are my favorite. So I typically pick Basic White. When I'm doing Christmas themes, even some fall things, I like to use Very Vanilla, but you can use crumb cake, or we could get really bold and use a colored cardstock, or you could use a light one like a blue or something like that. You can stamp scenes and then cut up your piece. So if you wanted to use the Christmas barn, you could stamp a scene. Or we can just do something very simple like this, and then add whatever holiday words we want. So the first thing we have to choose is what base to use. So we've got Basic White, Very Vanilla, Crumb Cake, or Soft Succulent. And I do have this stamp set out here. I want to use these two greens, and I haven't picked any other colors yet because I wasn't sure what base we were going to use. But we can do lots and lots. So far, I have soft succulent. I think Jenny's voting soft succulent too. Anyone else? Anyone else? Linda votes very vanilla, so these two are in the running. I'm going to give it just a few seconds. This morning I had such a hard time finding my own video. I'm sure other people may be having a hard time too. Ooh, soft succulent. Oh, so I think soft succulent's going to win. I've got 4 votes for it. So I'm going to be making lots of these today and posting samples later to show you different options and different things you can do. So no worries if something didn't get chosen. You know that I'm always here to help inspire you. So today is not only World Card Making Day, so I hope you are making cards. Stamp along with me if you want. You can use whatever stamp sets you have to do this technique. But it's also National Coffee Day. Vicky's drinking iced coffee. I'm drinking my regular coffee. So if you see lots of posts from me today about coffee, now you know why, because I love coffee and it's National Coffee Day. Okay, so you guys want to try this stamp set. So far I have these 2 colors. Now, something you want to think about when you're picking your colors. Sorry, I got a little bit of a glare. Let me see if I can adjust my light here. You want colors that are going to show up. So I've picked a kind of a dark background. This is a lighter green, but it is still fairly dark considering we normally stamp on very vanilla or basic white. So we have to pick some colors for our pine cones. On this one, I used crumb cake and I believe soft suede or maybe early espresso. So what do you think will look good here? You can also use one color. If you don't have 2 browns, you could use whatever brown you have and stamp off for the bottom part of the pine cone and then stamp full force, first generation for the detail, stamped off for the solid part. And I had lots of berries in here, so we need a berry color. So we need to pick our browns for our pine cone. What do you guys think? Soft suede and crumb cake. And I don't remember. Sometimes I take notes on the back when I do these. I want to say I used Mary Merlot on the berries because I believe this was cherry cobbler on this one, and so I wanted something really dark that I knew would show up. But we could also use a blue. So if you don't want a red berry, we could do a blue berry, which I love blue winter berries. And I'm going to show you, we'll vote which way we're going to stamp, if we're going to do a wreath or if you guys want to see the T, the way that you can stamp down the middle of the page. Linda votes for deep, rich colors. So let me grab some browns here. Trying to decide which.
Go with the new blue too. No, the other one. I'm sorry.
I don't know if it'll show up.
You don't think that'll show up?
I don't know. We'll try. Vicky's picked a blue. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. So I brought out my 3 browns. And then I picked Mary Merlot. And Vicky picked Pacific Point, and I picked Night of Navy. So here's the colors. Oh no, you can't hear me. Let me see. Can you hear me now, Linda? Maybe I had my phone down too much. Ooh, Jenny votes Starry Sky for berries. Ooh, that would be good. Let me grab that one. We have lots to choose from today. This is probably the hardest part, in my opinion, of a One Sheet Wonder, is really deciding your color scheme. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I did walk away, Linda. I apologize. I forgot to raise my voice as I walked away from my phone, my recording, because I was picking colors that are behind me at my station. So sorry about that. Well, there has been issues with Facebook. I've seen lots of complaints for people's sound when they're recording and when people are watching. So I apologize if that is happening. It is out of my control if it's something going on with Facebook. But I did turn up my phone volume, so maybe that'll help. Maybe that was part of my problem because I wasn't right next to my phone. So, okay, so let's look at the colors that we have picked. So we know we want these 2 greens. I love these greens for holiday cards. Now these, the Evening Evergreen and the Soft Succulent are in colors. So they will be going away in 23, and we will be getting new ones. So if you don't have these colors, you want to snatch them up and make sure you get a refill with those. So let me see. Pam picked Starry Sky and Soft Suede and Crumb Cake. So we would have, let's move some of these down. Hopefully you can still see them. Now, Early Espresso will be very dark. So this would be our color scheme. And I'm trying to keep it kind of simple. Obviously, you can put lots and lots of things in here. But I want to keep it kind of simple. And because our pine cone layers, I'm picking 2 different colors. You could pick one color and stamp off. The berries does have a stem, but I'm just using the berry stamp. And then on this one, I used this, looks like a pine needle. That's what it reminds me of, pine needles. And then I used this holly leaf and then this leaf. So those were the 3 that I used. And I used, I want to say 3 colors, 3 different greens. So we're going to do it with 2 greens. And we'll just see how it turns out. So what do you guys think? What do you think about this color scheme? Or do you want to, I've got Night of Navy, Mary Merlot is originally what I used, and Pacific Point. And I think I used Early Espresso, but I stamped this a little while ago, so sometimes I just can't remember what I did. I would love to believe that I always remember, but that's why I take notes. So little tip there, because I'm going to cut this up, but I usually take notes and keep a notebook, and I have notes in there about what I did, but I failed to do that this time, so we're just guessing. So Eileen votes for this. Linda likes this row. So I will probably make variations with these for sure. I love the blue winterberry. I wish I had trees that have them, but all of mine are red. There's also yellow. There is a yellow winterberry. Good point, Vicki. So let's throw this up here just in case. Now, these are photopolymers, so I'm going to put these away. And I have some colors up here. I wanted to point something out to you guys. I'm in a group, it's called SU for Stampin' Up! Color Challenge. And they just put out our October color challenge. And it is Basic Gray, Balmy Blue, and Blushing Bride. So I thought that could be an interesting color combo for a holiday. We don't have to use traditional colors. So that's tucked up there to the side because I just wanted to tell you about that. I saw that this morning and I really like that color combo. Okay, so we'll keep Early Espresso up here just in case. Just in case. So I'm going to put our berries can be Starry Sky. And let me see if I have a little strip here. A test strip. Just getting in my, hopefully you can still hear me. I'm just getting in my basket of, here we go, of scrap paper. This is a very beat up piece of soft succulent. But let's test a few things out. So I'm going to be reaching up here and grabbing some blocks. Let's see. I'm not sure how many I need. I'm just going to grab out some blocks. And let's test a few things out. So I picked a color scheme I think I'm going to love. I think I also used the dottage that was in here too. Let's see. Sorry. I've got blocks under here. I at first did not embrace the soft succulent and evening evergreen because I didn't want another green, but they are very unique and I really like them. So I will probably use them a lot more this year than I did last year. I like the undertone of these greens. So this is Starry Sky, and I just inked up my berries. And I'm going to stamp on there. And look, they look nothing like Starry Sky. They actually almost look like Night of Navy. I really like it though. So I'm going to test out, move my coffee here. I'm going to test out some of our colors. Now, the soft succulent is probably going to look a little bit like tone on tone, but you'll be surprised at how dark it will stamp. So there's our berry color. And let me get some of these mounted up. Now, you can use whatever leaves you like, whichever ones you like. These were just my choices. And if you don't like the big pine cone, you can use the small. So I'm just trying to get some of these. This is a well-loved stamp set for me. I love this. It's called Christmas Season. And let me get my sample back out. Now, I used both sized pine cones on mine. So if you don't like the bigger one and you feel like you just want to use the small one, then just grab the small out. No worries. Okay. I'm going to have to share some blocks here. I guess this will fit on here. Okay, so I'm just going to test out some colors. Let's see. So here's the soft succulent. And you'll want, these are photopolymers, so you will want to grab your mats. I'm going to grab a couple here in a second. This is the Evening Evergreen. I really like these. So by testing these out a little bit before we get started, you can kind of see what you're going to like and make sure you like your color choices. Now here's going to be the tricky one. Let's try crumb cake and see how it looks. And then we'll know. Now you could adjust as you're stamping your paper. So my crumb cake may need re-inked just a tad. And let's try soft suede. That was our original choice. It may be kind of hard to see. What do you guys think? Now I just re-inked my soft suede, so it's very dark. It's very dark. So let me try something here. Let me try, oops, this. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Whoops. I wanted to try this with soft suede. So you can see that soft suede, because I just re-inked it, it's very, very dark. And then this is early espresso. Nope. Now it could be because mine's so juicy, but because I tested it out, I know that I think I'm going to use, let's try this. So this is soft suede, and mine, it's very, very, very juicy because I just re-inked it. I might have to move some of that ink around. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on here. So that almost looks like crumb cake when I stamp off. And then we could do. So let's have a little vote here about which brown we want. So, oh, I don't have any. I don't have a spoon down here. That's okay. I might have to move some of that ink. So this was crumb cake and soft suede. This was soft suede and early espresso. And this is almost too dark. And this is soft suede stamped off and then stamped the detail full force. So what do you guys think? I'm going to grab my mats. So I'm going to put my stamping mats. I have two that I put together like this to stamp on, and I am going to put it under my sheet. I'm going to move some of these out of the way for a second. There we go. Make sure I know where the mats are. There we go. The crumb cake and the soft suede. So Jenny votes soft suede by itself. Linda votes crumb cake and soft suede, which there's no wrong way. The crumb cake is just a little light, and it may stamp a little bit differently. I'm all out of sorts here. Hold on. It may stamp a little bit differently now that I have that foam under there. So what do you guys think? The one on the right. So Vicki votes for just soft suede. Oops, sorry. Just soft suede. Any other? Pam votes for crumb cake and soft suede. Who's going to be the tiebreaker? We have one more decision to make, and then we're stamping. We're going to just go for it. Now, I will say the early espresso has a little bit different undertone than soft suede. So if you have one or the other, there's no wrong one. You just have to choose which one you think you'll like best or test it out. Like I just had the scrap sheet, and I'm okay with sacrificing a half piece of soft suede to make sure I like my color combos. So on this one that I did weeks ago, I stamped the pine cones first in an oval shape, how I thought I'd want it. Then I went back in and filled in the leaves. So you could stamp in the order that you feel most comfortable. So when I stamped my pine cones, I purposely stamped the leaves around it. So like Pam just asked which one will show best over the leaves. I stamped the leaves second so that I was not overlapping the pine cones. So that my green actually overlaps the pine cones a little bit, but I actually stamped those in first. So you could do the green first, and then your pine cones, if you're using lighter greens, you could stamp the pine cones over top. But if you're using darker greens, well, it's not going to stamp as well over top. So I'm actually going to stamp those pine cones first. So it might look like I overlapped them here because I really filled it in, but I actually didn't, which you can kind of see here. You don't see any green behind it. Now, one way to get around that, if you have the coordinating dies to the Christmas season, you could die cut your pine cones and add them on as a 3D element so they're truly over top of whatever green wreath you've stamped. So what do you guys think? So I'm gonna, because we're gonna do these first, I'll probably just have to make an executive decision here, won't I? So I've got this on top of my mat, my stamping mats, and they're pushed together so that I can stamp and not have any interruptions. If you only have one mat, you'll have to move it around a little bit. But I'm going to do the pine cones first. So depending on, like I said, your way that you like to stamp, let's see if I can move a few things up here to make sure you guys can see everything that I'm doing. I'm going to do the pine cones first. And I will go ahead and do the crumb cake and the soft suede just so that you can see. But like I said, if you only have one color, feel free to make that adjustment. You don't have to have two colors. And I need this. I need to mount these little ones. So our decision, our last decision, and something you have to think about before you start stamping is how do you want to stamp it? So do we want to try where I stamp down the middle, and then I'm going to show you how to cut that into 4 pieces, or do you want to see the oval like a wreath? So I don't know, I call it a cross. Stamp in a cross shape or a T or whatever you want to call it, or oval. So I don't have anything done with a T, but I will show it to you. Let's see. Looking for a small block. It's a little bit bigger than I wanted, but it works. Okay, I think I have everything on blocks. So Linda votes for the cross shape. So basically we would stamp down the middle and down the middle. You can also do like a wreath, which is the oval, or you can also, if you want to do scenes, you can do like a long 2 lines, kind of like you're going to cut it into sections. So there's lots of options, or you can just stamp all over. Sometimes I do that too. When you're creating your own stamped pattern, you can stamp all over, but I have a specific purpose in how I want to cut it. That's why I'm gonna stamp that direction. It looks like the cross is winning out. How's it going, Vicki?
Well, got one.
Vicki has one done, and she has agreed to share some of hers when at the end of our video. So, okay, I'm going to clean this a little bit. I'm going to start with crumb cake. And I probably could have re-inked my crumb cake. It seems like it needs re-inked a little bit. It's very sticky. Like it's fighting to pick up the ink. So we'll just go with it. So I'm going to stamp like this and like this. So I'll just start here. And I'm just guessing. Doesn't have to be perfect. There is no perfect. Now, if your ink pads need re-inked or you've just re-inked them and they're really juicy, that's going to affect how this turns out. So that's another reason to kind of test out your inks on your pads and make sure that you know how they're going to stamp. See, I keep getting one side really dark. Well, apparently there's ink on one part of my pad. Okay. Joe's down here playing. Okay, so that's the big one. Now I'm gonna come in, just toss that out of the way. Come in with this little pine cone here and just add in. So you can make it as busy as you want. I really like the pine cones. Sometimes I get going too much. I do too much. That's okay. Okay, now I'm gonna come in. He ran off, Miss Jenny, ran off. I'm gonna come in with the detailed stamp that layers, and I'm gonna use the soft suede. And remember, it was very dark. I'm gonna try. Ooh, yeah. That didn't quite work how I wanted. Hold on, I'm cleaning my block for a second because I got a big blob of ink on there. I'm going to take a block and I'm just pulling some of that ink to the side. It's just too juicy. I got it a little too juicy when I re-inked it. And then I'm going to clean that block off. Okay, let's try it now. Stamp over here. A little better. Okay. I might have to stand up while I layer these. They may come out okay, and they some of them may be off a little. That's all right. So how many people have this stamp set? This is one of my favorites. I'm going to use this. So I want to give everyone, oops, that one didn't stamp at the top, a little warning. If my video interrupts, if my son is in training, and if he calls, I will be taking his phone call because, well, we can't get more phone calls, and I can't call him back. So if, for some reason, if this live stops because my son has called, I promise to come back and finish with you, and when I'm done. But if he calls, I just want to forewarn you. I forgot to say that at the beginning, but I don't want to miss his call. I missed it yesterday, and it's just about killing me. Linda, this set came out last year. So this set was in the mini of last year, and then it transferred, carried over to our annual. So yeah, I love this set. It does have coordinating dies, and in the dies it has these really nice labels and other things besides the cutouts. So I love this set. This is, and it doesn't have any words with it, so you can use whatever holiday sets you have. Like if you have a Merry Christmas that you like, or if you have Season's Greetings or something like that, or whatever. It's one of my favorite sayings is, it's the most wonderful time of year, so I like to use that. Okay, I'm coming in. Oops. Make sure you don't get it on the end of your block because it will transfer onto your paper. I'm coming in with that holly leaf, and I almost forgot what I was doing there for a second. I'm just going to start adding this in. Now this is in Soft Succulent. So I will fill in with other leaves as well. So don't worry. I'm not worried about if they overlap. Just trying to think about where I might want this particular leaf. Oh, well, I don't remember. Last year I used it a ton. I really like this set. So I'm trying to keep in a T. And I'm just filling this in. Don't worry about if you overlap your pine cones. It's okay. And I'm switching the direction of my leaf. And remember, we have other things we're going to fill in too. So, oh, yeah, see how I got ink on my block there? Make sure. I usually use a smaller block for this. I might change it. I have to switch it here because I keep getting extra ink. There we go. Let's see if that works better. Let's see. So I'm getting it probably a little busier than I intended. That's okay. So I'm going to use this leaf, and I'm going to leave this stem off. I didn't ink it. And I'm just going to add some of these in. Just overlap. I'm using the exact same color It's okay. I just want a variety. You could choose a third green or you could stamp off. I wanted to have a lot of leaves. I want it to be a little busy with leaves, with the greenery. I need something right here, don't I? Okay. Wait a second. I need a little something here. Okay. So I can always come back and add in more. And now I'm going to add in this little one. I'm going to use the evening evergreen. And I'm going to try to fill in some of those spaces. And it might look like a little bit of a mess right now, but I promise. We're going to add in those berries. And you can stamp off. I think I got a little off on this one. I went a little sideways. Now, if you only want part of that to show, just clean it and ink up just the top so that you can add in and not overlap your pine cones. That is kind of how I did those. So it kind of looks like I'm overlapping that, but I'm really not. Let's see, I feel like I need some more down here. Let's see. Okay. Just stop, Beth. Just stop. Yes, I love, this one, Pam, I love this leaf. And on the white one, I used this layers over top of this. I used white ink with this one and then green with this. And that's how I came up with that leaf on the one that was on crumb cake. So this one. And I often use that stamp on white paper with other colors, and then it looks like it's snow covered. So yeah, that's probably one of my most used. I use it on everything. Okay, so we're done with our greenery. Now we're going to do our berries. And that's it. And then if you feel like it needs anything else, you can kind of go back and add in. So we're using that Starry Sky. I'm not using the stem. I'm just going to go right in and add berries. You can stamp off. And I like a lot of berries, so I tend to make it really heavy. Adjust to your preference. Okay, I'm going to add in a few more berries up here. I think that's enough. Tell me it's enough. Say stop stamping, Beth. Okay, so that's our one sheet wonder. Now, what we're gonna do, let me show you my template. So this, and that's why I said I went kind of heavy on this end, and I meant to kind of keep it this way, but I didn't. That's okay. So when we cut this, we're going to cut it into 4s, and we have 4 card fronts, but we've done the stamping so that it kind of shares all the images. So if you wanted a little bit more right here, you could come back in. And I feel like I need to fill something in there because those 2 leaves just seem like they're sticking out a little. I think I'm going to use this and add a little bit more in there. There we go. So I'm just coming in to adjust anywhere that I think could maybe use a little bit more. Okay, so what do you think? Are you ready to cut it? So I brought my trimmer in, and we could stamp another one if you want. Everybody wants. We could probably stamp another one really quick. Let's do that. Let's stamp another one really, really quick. I'm going to do it on Very Vanilla. And let's use the same colors just so that you can see the difference. Okay, so I'm going to come in. I'm going to do my pine cones really quick. I'm going to do it exactly the same way. So here's my 2 pine cones. Okay. Jenny knows. Okay. I just want you to see the difference a little bit. I love stamping these. Okay. Oh, I forgot I switched that. Hold on a sec. Let's try that again. Now that you kind of know what you want to do, you can almost stamp faster because you have an idea. Okay. I should have my big block out here, huh? So I can stick my stamps on there and not lose them. Okay. Detail stamp coming in. Soft suede. I've got a big pile of everything over here next to me. And I've got inky fingers. So hopefully I don't get it on my paper. That's good. Good enough. Okay. I hope you guys give this a try because I know how much I enjoy it. Okay, so my soft succulent ink pad doesn't want to open. Okay. So I'm going to use that stamp again. Now, if you don't want it full force, you can stamp off and make it lighter, but it's the same tone. Let me do some full force so you can see. So you can stamp and stamp off. And I like turning it all different directions. Okay. Now this one. Remember, I don't want the stem. I just feel like I need a filler. And this, I like how this leaf fills it up. Kind of. So what do you think, Linda? What do you think about the soft succulent? Okay. See how quick the second one is coming together because I stamped one and I kind of took my time. And now I know more of how I want it to look. So now this is that, looks like pine needles to me. I don't know what if there's a proper term, but I'm coming in, and this is that evening evergreen. And I'm really filling in. I got something on my stamp. Piece of hair. That's what that little circle is on my stamped image here. I tend to turn my paper. I can't stay in one direction. Now I'm gonna clean this a little bit so I can do where I just ink the top. So I'm just inking that top part. And you can stamp off and get your different variations there. Okay. All right, Pam said, be right back. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. I think if I'm going to say my motto, practice, practice, practice. But see, I took my time kind of on that first one. And then I knew what I wanted, and then I could just stamp a whole bunch. And you're going to see when I cut this, we're going to have enough for 8 cards. And it's going to be so nice. So I have the starry sky, and I'm just going to go in and stamp the berries. Now, the berries do have a branch that goes with it, but you can add them in without that, and it's okay. And I do like mine a little heavy. Kind of want something there, but some of it will get cut off. So there. So I encourage you to keep trying. I know there's things I don't like. Do you guys remember what I showed you last weekend? There are definitely things that I don't like. So don't be afraid to just keep trying. So see, I stamped that a little bit straighter, and maybe not so much down here, but you get the idea. So let's cut them. We're going to cut them like this, where we just cut them in half, and then you can trim them to fit your card size, or you can just adhere them straight onto the card front. They're going to be the same size as your folded card. Jenny says, you like the very vanilla better. I'm not sure. I think this is my typical, so automatically my mind goes to that, but I do like this. I think this is different, and it's okay. You could even try it with Balmy Blue, or Pool Party, or Soft Seafoam, or a lighter green or something, or even Sahara Sand is a lot lighter brown than the crumb cake. So have fun with whatever supplies you have and test them out. So I'm going to cut it on the 8.5 side. I'm cutting it at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut it at 5 1/2. And so there's our card fronts. All we have to do, this is simple stamping. This is just using the supplies you have on hand, whatever paper you have, and we can stamp our greeting in this area that we left. So you can make it, you can step it up and add die cuts, or you can leave it as is and just keep it simple stamped. So you cut the 8.5 side at 4 1/4 and the 11-inch side at 5 1/2. So see, we have 8 card fronts in less than an hour. And now that I know the design I want, I can stamp fairly quickly and get these. Now, let me just cut these. Let me show you something here. Let me see what colors I have. So I'm going to grab a very vanilla. Let me see. I'm just grabbing some things I already have pre-cut. So you can choose whatever colors you want. You could even use crumb cake. I just grabbed these 3 colors really quick. So if you want this to just go right onto your card front, this is 8.5 by 5 1/2. The 8.5 side is scored at 4 1/4. So this will fit right onto your card front like this. If you would like some of it to show, then you can trim your piece. And I like to cut mine in half first and then trim it. So if I want to trim this down to 5 1/4, I would stick whichever side I want to trim in there. And so it's 5 1/4 by 4. And that's why I said sometimes the things that you stamp are going to get trimmed off. That's okay. Stamp away and have fun. This is Evening Evergreen, and now it's trimmed so that we have a little bit of a border. So you can do it either way. That's fine. So let's see. Or you could even put this on here like this. So whatever you like, or you can do tone on tone. This is Soft Succulent. I don't have it scored, so you can do tone on tone. I think I like it on this. What do you guys think? I think I like it on the Evening Evergreen. And then you could stamp an Evening Evergreen, whatever greeting you want. If you wanted to say Merry Christmas. Ooh, look at this one. So if I trim this a little bit, you can also just trim this off if you want less white space or cream. This is very vanilla. So trim whichever side you don't like. So if you don't like how you filled something in and you can trim that side off, then trim that side off. Ooh, I love that. I might have to use all my Evening Evergreen paper and make cards today. So what you do after you cut it down, like I said, you can either leave it the full card front or you can trim it. But this stamp set has It's the Most Wonderful Time of Year, or May Joy Fill Your Heart This Season, Merry Christmas to You and Yours. My other favorite is this Perched in a Tree, Wishing You Abundant Joy and Peace, Let Heaven and Nature Sing. I love those two. So let's stamp it with the, I love this font. Let's stamp it with this. Just need to grab a block. And I have a hard time stamping these straight, but I'm not going to worry about it. I do recommend using the Stamparatus for your words. Look at my hands. Okay, so do you want to stamp it in Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent? You could do one of the browns, or you could do the berry color. So what do we want to draw focus to? Thank you, Miss Vicki. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Jenny. Linda, if I miss you, I want to say thanks because I know you said something in there. So I want to encourage you to kind of test your limits. We did something new by using the Soft Succulent as our base instead of our normal neutral. So have some fun with it. Don't be afraid to test it out. Worst thing can happen is you'll hate it and you won't use it, right? But we won't know till we try. So, Vicki votes Starry Sky. Linda votes Starry Sky or Evening Evergreen. Ooh, everyone's saying Starry Sky. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's hope I can stamp it straight. Anyone else as nervous as me? I have this beautiful piece of work, and let me just test it out here on my grid paper. I'm not really stamping straight, but that's okay. We're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. And I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's pretty good. Might be a tad off, but that's okay. If you want perfect, use your Stamparatus, because red rubber can sometimes be cut off a little bit, and that's just the way it goes. Someone's still getting this Christmas card from me, and they're probably not going to notice the things I do. So there we go. If we put that on Evening Evergreen, I love that. And you could also stamp two and put one piece on the inside. So I could have this here, and then on my, let's just fold this. So this could go on the front, the right way up, right, Jenny? And then you could have one of these pieces on the inside. Trim it down so that it shows, or leave it as is and just pop it in there. I would trim it. I always trim my inside pieces just so that it folds better. So if you wanted to use those on the... Hey, Sandy! Thanks for popping in. We miss you. So you could use part of your pieces for the inside of your card as well and make it really decked up. Or you can just put a couple little pine cones in here and stamp a piece of Very Vanilla. So that's our options. You could use the soft succulent, or you could do tone on tone with the Very Vanilla. You can also trim this a little bit more and add in a colored matte. If you don't have a lot of your colored cardstock to use for bases, then just cut them down to be mattes and then use a neutral base to add in. So I like them all. What do you guys think? Let's glue it. Let's do it. Thank you, Sandy. So I'm using Evening Evergreen. This just really draws my eye. Oh, yes, you could trim whatever piece you've trimmed off, you could use as the highlight on the inside. So if you know how you want to trim it, you could trim it, instead of cutting it completely in half, you could trim it down like we do normally when we do our layers for our cardstocks, like trim it at 5, and then you'll have a little stamp strip. It depends on how you stamp your paper too. Thank you for all those hearts. Thanks for the love. If you've had fun on this video, please make sure you give me lots of love, lots of hearts. Share this video with your friends. And let's see, what else do we want to remind you of today? So it is World Card Making Day. So if you're making cards today, I would love it if you would share. Stampin' Up! Does have a hashtag. I'll put that up on my page later today, so you can share right along with all the demonstrators and other crafters that are working hard today making cards. If you need any Stampin' Up! Supplies, feel free to visit my online store. For Stampin' Up!, it's shop.stampandcreatewithbeth.com. You can also find those links on my page. And Vicki, do you want to share any of yours before we go? So Vicki's been in here stamping. She's working away. She has been working. She has a lot finished. Do you want to show any?
You can if
Okay.
you like.
Miss Vicki says I can show these too.
I'm still working on this one.
So she did this, and she did the top and the bottom. So if you cut down the middle, you have lots of layers and a scene that you can use. This is, which sets did you use, Vicki, on this one? So you use Peaceful Cabin and what's the snowman?
I've got the snowman, and I used the trees from this one.
So the Snow Wonder. So these are retired sets, but use what you have. And she also used Christmas Rose. We had this set, a few years ago. I want to say it was 2019 or so. And she made a wreath. And so this is a gorgeous set. And we'll have to look forward to Vicki's cards after she cuts them up. So thanks for sharing with us, Vicki. And she's doing some more scenes. I plan on doing some scenes with this barn. So look for that. I'm going to share lots and lots of ideas. I think this is a great way to make tons of cards and get the most out of your crafty time, because we all have limited time. I know I've felt the crunch to be in my craft room and get things done. So I hope this technique will help you get a bunch of cards done at one time. So thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful World Card Making Day. And don't forget, you're going to see lots of coffee love because it's National Coffee Day. Vicki, they said, great job. They love them.
Thank
So.
you.
All right, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Yes, Sandy, you need to come craft with us. We have missed you. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe if you're in the line of the storms. Everybody has our prayers that has been hit by the hurricane and the storms afterwards. I know even Ohio is supposed to get rain today. So prayers for everybody there. And I guess just enjoy your weekend. Enjoy crafting and look for a post to share your cards. So everybody take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.